Hi, my name is Lauren Dry. I am the Connection Catalyst, and I am here today to support you through the really, really tough stuff. Get you some tools as well to help you function and get you back on track to doing the things that you really need to do, even if sometimes it feels like the house is on fire, like the world is falling apart. And it can be due to anything from perhaps your marriage feels like it's on the rocks, or your children have health issues, or you're processing some really tough feelings around grief, or self-development and the work that can come alongside with that sometimes. So when you are dealing with these really, really big, intense feelings, it can often seem like getting the stuff done around the home or getting the work done so that you can pay the bills is really, really challenging, and your mind is not functioning in a way that you really need it to stay on track. This is actually a nervous system response. We're all familiar with the fight, flight, fawn, freeze responses. You know, when you're under stress and you want to fight to resolve something, or you might feel like you want to run away and avoid it. A freeze response can actually put you in a state where you feel paralyzed and it's impossible to function. You know, the intelligence and the quick wit that you might need to stay on track and focused with your business or at work, or the connection that you really need to find within yourself so that you can stay empathetic and supportive to your children when they're going through a really hard time. Those tools are necessary for so many of us, even when it feels like life is falling apart. Of course, there are nervous system and somatic tools that we can use to help us get it back into regulation. But a lot of the time, what we also need are some really practical support tools that help us feel like we're not ignoring the fire that's going on behind us just so that we can feel better and feel calm. We don't want to be getting ourselves into a state where we're feeling like we are gaslighting our unconscious mind and blocking off the fact that there's, in our internal reality, in our internal world, or in our internal home, there's a fire that's burning it down. So what we're going to focus on is how do we get into a state where we can be functional, where we're not beating ourselves up every time we sit at a computer and we just can't get the work done, whether we can stop that internal dialogue that says you're being lazy or not able to cope. You know, we're really helping you feel supported and get you those functional tools to get you through the hard time, as well as giving you all those internal support systems so that you can really feel better and get back to finding really effective solutions. So we're going to keep you on track to making sure all the bills are paid, if that's something that you're working with at the moment, that you can stay in that really connected space or come back to it whenever you jump out of it for your children and for your family, and also come back into regulation. And with what I want to leave you with most importantly is, with even in extreme stress situations, there are options. But if we don't take a step back and give you a game plan, what can happen is you drop into a really fearful response that doesn't allow you to make decisions that you need to make from a place of calm and knowing and grounding. And you can end up making really big decisions from a place of fear. And in hindsight, these decisions don't end up being the ones that are serving you or your family best. So the first step that I'm going to get you to work with to move out of that freeze response where you feel really shut down and you sit down in front of your computer and you want to do the work and you want to help provide for your family and you want to show up as the mother who's connected for your children, the first step that we're going to do is build you a picture of what is happening. In a freeze response, what your body is trying to do is protect you from all of the details, all of the information that's going on, because it seems too big, it seems too scary, and trying to manage all the details and all of the cascade of tools that you need to be able to get through it can feel really, really overwhelming. All of the steps that are required to survive it. So first step is always to step back, get some objectivity. You can use the somatic tools, which is something that I talk about a lot on my page and over on Instagram. Get you into a state where you are able to focus for a second. And if you need to dissociate a bit, if you need to even just give yourself a warm cup of tea, get a piece of paper and a pen and start writing these things out. Let's do that. Do it while you're watching this video. You can pause it now, go get a pen and paper, and you can do it together with me and feel like you've got that support and you're not alone. So the way that we're going to build a picture and get clear on objectively what you need to do to feel like the house is not burning down around you is focus on priority one. Now, as I mentioned before, when you're dealing with a freeze response, your body tends to find it really, really challenging to focus on work, focus on connecting with the kids, focus on getting through the day-to-day, because internally there is a dialogue that says, stop focusing on all of this. There's a fire burning your house down. You need to concentrate on that. So what we're going to do is just hyper-focus for a minute on what the big issue is, take away all the noise and give you a priority one. So your priority one might originally sound like, I have to save my marriage, or I have to focus on my child who's unwell. But when you take a minute, pause, and take stock of the immediacy of the issues, what you can do is say, okay, what we really need to focus on isn't necessarily saving our marriage, it's getting clear on our communication, because we're not communicating well, and I need a game plan to improve that, just so that we can get through the day-to-day and work on our connected boundaries. I have a free connected boundaries training, which you can find through my Instagram page as well, and in my bio. But get a game plan. Do I have a plan to work on my communication? Am I actively seeking a counselor who's going to support me well, or a relationship, marriage, and family coach who specializes in this area and who can see and know the issues that I'm working with? If the challenges are stem from something to do with my child's health, whether it's mental or physical, am I dedicating the time today to make a game plan, or am I drowning in all the small issues and not having the capacity to focus on one big issue? Okay, is there something in place? Even if I have to wait for a period of time to get the appointment that I need, is it coming up? Is it booked in? Do I have a strategy to manage things in the meantime? What we're doing is we're bringing tangibility to what the concerns are, so that we can tell our unconscious mind, we can tell our nervous system, I'm not ignoring the fire in the background anymore. I'm putting that as priority one, and I will do that anytime I need to stop and focus on work and I can feel myself drifting. I'm going to gift myself some grace here and say, it's safe for me to start working again because I've made a plan for priority one. And we'll get to that in step 5, and gift you a safety statement for your nervous system in step 3. So we need to get clear, get a pen and paper. What is my priority one? You might think on the surface it's to save your marriage, but let's get super, super clear on the practicality of it. Do you just need to improve your communication? Do you need to improve your connected boundaries at this point? You know, do you need to work on a game plan if you are co-parenting, and have some clear boundaries and agreements that are necessary to have clear communication so you're not dragged into the muck? Is there a plan that is going to help you feel rested? And is the plan that you're working with at the moment simply not functional, so you need to make a new one around your child's health or parenting or your own education, to become the connected kind of parents and family that you want to be? So step 1, outline and in black and white, write it down. What is priority one? What is the big fire in the center of the house, and not what's going on around outside of it? Okay, get clear. Step 2, check your values. So what we tend to do is wander around aimlessly and say, I'm a good person, that person's a good person, or this person's a bad person, but we're not checking in with actually what our values are. So for example, you might have a disagreement with someone because they've told a white lie, but their highest priority, their highest value might be connection. And they don't think that saying whether they had a white or a black coffee is a big deal, but your highest value might be authenticity. So you find that to be really, really jarring. So that's a small example of how understanding our own values allows us to have clarity on the things that bother us. And so not get shocked and knocked off our center when we can simply recognize that other people don't share our same highest value. So there is a whole values exercise that we can do here, but just for condensing the topic as simply as we can for you, write down 5 words that come to your mind when I say, what are your highest values? And I'll give you some suggestions, but work with whatever comes up for you naturally and organically. It can be authenticity, it can be connection, it can be family, it can be calm communication, it can be whatever comes to your mind, adventure, freedom, or security and stability. These are suggestions, and you can bring up a whole list of what these values are, but just organically write out what would be your top values: health, abundance, joy. These things are deeply personal to each of us, but having awareness of them is really, really, really important. Write them down as well and put them somewhere visible. Now that you've got your values, you're going to check them against priority 1, and you're going to say, okay, now that I'm aware of priority 1, how can I make a plan, just a mini plan, write out some dot points that match my values with my priority 1. So for example, if one of my priority 1 steps and tools is, am I seeking counseling, and do I have a plan with that? Am I seeking the right doctor, the right plan for my child's health that matches in with us being close together, and that maintaining that, meeting that value, that important core need of mine, that family is an important need. So even though there's a ton of other issues that come around that, with that, of being in the same area of where a specialist might be, you know, that might create some conflict around, okay, well, it might make work a little bit more challenging, or it might make seeing my family as often as I like a little bit more challenging. It still matches with your top value. So you can say, okay, I'm working within a plan that matches my priority 1 with my values. And so I feel really, really in alignment. I'm making conscious, healthy, supportive decisions here. So write out your priority 1, write down your values, and have a little bit of a check-in here to make sure that your values are matching in with your plan there, so that you can make effective steps. Like if I do need to move locations, or if I do need to make steps to have better communication, I'm writing out the steps clearly in a way that feels really supportive with my core authentic values. Step 3 is write out a safety statement for your nervous system, so that when it comes time to sit down and do your work, cook dinner or do school pickup, and you're feeling that real freeze response, you have a safety statement for your nervous system that says, the house fire is being put out. It might not be out right now, but the fire engines are all there. You can rest. You don't need to be in a state of hypervigilance. And that safety statement might sound something to yourself like, is priority 1 plan in progress? If it's not, you might need to, before you sit down and do your work, do a quick check, make sure the appointments lined up for your children, make sure that you've got a plan in place for actively working on your communication, and you have some habits that you work through and you practice each night. So is the plan in progress, or am I drifting and I'm getting dragged away by the tide of life, which is going to put my nervous system into a real state of distress? Do I need to just check in with the plan, jiggle it around, juggle some things, and make sure it's moving in the background and things are happening? That's going to give me a deep sense of relief and help take that weight off my shoulders for this period where I can focus on work, or this period where I can focus on dinner, this period where I can focus on, you know, the really important things of making sure life can keep ticking over in the background. So the statement can sound like, is priority 1 plan in progress? Okay. Step 4 is list the reasons why you need to work or parent your children in this time, even when it feels like there is a priority 1 issue and the house is burning down. For example, if you want to make sure you're not snapping at your kids in a time of real stress, you can write down This is because I want to be a really connective parent. So I'm going to be working on my somatic tools and making sure I'm staying in regulation. The reason why I need to work on my communication is though I want to improve my marriage, I also want to show up and improve myself too, so that no matter what's happening in my marriage, I want all of my relationships to improve, and especially my relationship with myself. If you are focusing on something that you need to do relating to work or business, employment, and finances, then the reason why you need to focus on that is because you want to provide for your family. You want to work towards a state of abundance. You'd like to have money. You'd like to feel secure and safe because you're getting your work done. And also because if you are working in your calling, which I hope you are, it gives you joy. It lights you up. It gives you a sense of satisfaction. And if you're in a season where you are working in a position or an environment where it's just to get the bills paid, that's a season that is effective, and that's because it matches in with your values around family first, providing for your family, or working on your communication so that your home is a safe environment for everybody. So list out the reasons why you need to do this task, why you need to work and sit down on your computer right now instead of working on priority one, why you need to be focusing on making dinner instead of. So find out why, make sure it's resonating and matching in with your values in step 2. And then you're going to feel really good about your work. You're going to feel excited about it. Yes, this matches in with my value of abundance. Yes, this work matches in with my value of growth and development and love for myself and the people around me. So you're going to say, you're going to reaffirm for your body and your nervous system, this is something we want. This is something that is okay to do. And it's really going to give us a sense of rest and satisfaction instead of, oh no, I have to do this or bad things are going to happen. Okay, we want this to be a motivating statement. Oh, these are the reasons why I want to do this right now. These are the reasons it's going to feel really, really good. So just affirm that this is something that has to be done right now. And this point in number 4 of listing the reasons, it's also going to help you recognize whether this is something you need to do right now. Do you need to be going to a social event at this point in time because you feel obligated? Or is this really going to fill up your cup so that you can keep doing the things that you need to be doing? It's an important check. List the reasons why you need to be doing this thing right now that has to be done. And step 5 is if you do need to do your work, you do need to focus on your parenting and you need to get into that state of, okay, I need to make sure that these tasks are being complete, even if they're not priority 1 tasks, is setting up your environment for success. So if you are working from home or if you're in a new work environment, for example, and the work is what you need to get done, what you'll tend to find is in order to be effective, you need to habit stack. Okay. Do you have your work outfit on? Have you brushed your teeth? Have you made yourself a cup of tea? Is there a quiet area where you can sit and hyper focus? And if not, how can you make that happen? How can you communicate to your body by habit stacking these tiny little things that indicate to your nervous system constantly, these are the steps that we're taking to get to this place where we're sitting in front of our computer and we're getting things done, and signaling in a safe way that this environment is set up solely for this task. Okay, I'm not going to be distracted even by little things like, okay, I can't sit here in my pajamas and get things done because my body is feeling from the material that I'm wearing and unconsciously being educated that it's time to rest. It's time to switch off. So these little things relating to our environment, not only our physical environment and the things we wear, but our mental environment of, oh, okay, I made a cup of tea. And normally when I make a cup of tea, that means I'm about to start doing work. These little things that stack on top of each other and lead us to a productive environment. So just to recap on the 5 points that can help you focus and get back on track in an environment where perhaps it does feel like the house is burning down, but there are going to be times where you need to concentrate on your work or in your parenting. The 5 steps that you're going to need as a recap are: 1, Priority 1, that's our step 1. Make sure you have awareness and you have clarity of what the fire looks like. You know, and you have awareness of what is the big issue in the center of the house that needs to be managed. And you're building out steps to be able to focus on that and have a plan going on in the background. The firefighters are in place and they're working on it. It might not be out yet, but they are there and they are working on the biggest issue that requires your focus and your attention in order for your nervous system to concentrate on anything else. Step 2 is checking with your values and making sure that your values match in with what your priority 1 plan is. Write out your values and have them visible for you. Step 3 is making sure that you have awareness and that you use your safety statement for your nervous system anytime you feel that freeze response of, is priority 1 plan in progress? Is my priority 1 plan in progress? And that's going to be a big check for your nervous system that says, okay, the firefighters are at work. It means I can perhaps touch on my somatics now, get back into regulation, get back into calm, and focus on the things that need to be done. Step 4 is list the reasons why these things need to be done at all. This is going to give you some clarity and make sure that the tasks that you're focusing on are not distracting you from the bigger things that are going on in the background. So you're not dissociating. This is actually something that needs to be done. I do need to work or provide for my family, focus on abundance, or focus on connection with my children and my family. These, what seem like small tasks that are difficult to navigate when I'm in a freeze response, can be done because now I feel good about doing them. They're matching in with my values and they feel okay to touch on now and not something that's distracting me from a bigger issue. It's also going to help you recognize, okay, is this something that I really need to do right now or not? And step 5 is making sure that you're setting your environment up for success. I hope this has been really, really supportive for you for whatever season you're at in life. And if you ever find yourself in a season where it does feel like the house is burning down, but you do need to function, you do need to keep moving, these are the 5 steps that are going to help support you through even the most challenging of seasons and get you focused on, yes, the priority 1 issues, but also the tasks that we all need to concentrate on as life continues so that we can take care of our kids, take care of ourselves, and get back into alignment and connect in not only with others, but ourselves. Come and chat with me anytime you need. I am Lauren Dry, the Connection Catalyst, and it is a pleasure to be with you.